Hi everyone, welcome to GeeksZilla, and today we're going to be discussing The Last Jedi.
Hi, I'm Mike, this is Nikki, Goth and Chris.
How you doing?
Evening.
Hey.
So, The Last Jedi.
So what was everybody's thoughts?
I fall into the camp of I absolutely loved it. About 90% loved it.
75-25 I think, yeah, roundabout.
Yeah, I had to see it twice, and after the second time I'm probably, about 85-90% love it. But the part I hate, I really hate. So.
And I think everybody's just surprised that I even enjoyed it.
Well, yeah.
I'm not known for my love of Star Wars, although with these new movies that are coming out, I'm appreciating it more and more, so...
I think the thing with this one, and I mean, this is the third Star Wars movie in this new run, the hype for this one seems to have been bigger than the other two for whatever reason, and I think that maybe that derailed it for me a little bit. I was expecting possibly a little bit more than it actually offered me.
Yeah, I think, and that's what I mentioned in my review, I think a lot of people had their own take on what was going to happen in the movie, and because Force Awakens was such a big hit and Rogue One was such a big hit, everybody went in thinking this is going to be amazing. They thought, they already had in their minds who Rey's parents were going to be, what's going to happen with Snoke and that sort of stuff. And I think because it didn't answer any of them in a way, to a certain extent, or people didn't get the answers that they were hoping for, I think that's what maybe a lot of fans have went, hold on a minute, this is...
But see, this is the thing I loved about it, is that you go in with these expectations, like, we're going to find out Rey's this magical mystery woman who's going to save the whole world, or Snoke's going to be like this big mental baddie that's going to be up there in the terms of cinematic villains. And then when you don't get that, it's not so much a disappointment, but it's almost like, no, you're not going to get the answers that you want. You can't please all people all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, we went into it thinking, this is going to be like an Empire Strikes Back. We're going to get the central story like we did in the originals. That we were going to go in, there's going to be a lot of answers, and then we're going to push towards something. And I still think it offered a lot. There's no doubt about that. I mean, we got back Luke Skywalker.
Mm-hmm. Well, for
we were
a period of time anyway.
Well, see, this is another thing, is people are saying, oh, Luke would never do that, Luke would never do that. I'm like, really?
The only thing I'd say he wouldn't, it doesn't feel right, is him standing over Kylo with the sword and going, he's not savable. It just doesn't fit with everything he did with Darth.
But even for that split second of doubt, that's relatable.
And that's what it was. Luke said it was a split second. But the other thing as well is, like, in the movie you get Kylo's view of that, and then you get Luke's view of it. And what you're going to have is somewhere in between that is where the truth's going to lie. It's not going to be exactly the way Luke remembers it. It's not going to be exactly the way Kylo remembers it. So,
yeah,
and for that split second doubt.
But to me, that was one of the reasons why he was hiding. And to me, Luke did play the way Luke would have done to a certain extent, in my opinion. If you look at like Obi-Wan and look at Yoda, not all of them hidden away, but he hid away because he was ashamed of what he'd done.
Yeah.
It wasn't because of what happened with Kylo and stuff like that in terms of the Jedi Order failing. His failing was what he was about to do to Kylo Ren, and he was ashamed at it. But it was at a split second the dark side took over for a very, very split second, and then he pulled himself back. To me, he played it perfectly. I thought that's what Luke would have done personally.
But was that the dark side taking over? Because if he's looking at Kylo going, this guy could be the next Darth Vader, and I've seen that that's the way he's going to go, is it being the dark side if you're trying to take that out?
Not necessarily the dark
The
side.
way he was going to do it is a bit dark, but...
Not necessarily the dark side, but more like giving into despair, which is the opposite of hope, essentially. So I think that was done fairly realistically.
And I suppose, would he have actually have done it if it wasn't his nephew?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah.
Would he have completely turned to the dark side or turned to whatever?
Yeah.
I think a lot was to be said about the fact that he's seen that sort of darkness, and it's that whole thing is, do you follow fate or does fate follow you? Like, would all of this have happened had Luke not had that split second of doubt that Kylo then seen? And then that's what kind of led him to what he became.
Well, that's what Yoda said in the film. No, it says that this was part of your training was passing on your feelings as well and everything else. No, he specifically said that in the film. No, it's all part of you.
Yeah.
So you bring Yoda into it. What a great comeback.
That
Yeah,
surprised
that was
me.
phenomenal. Phenomenal.
And well hidden. I had, and apparently it was leaked. It was leaked on, I think it was Good Morning or something like that. One of the people had gone in and were interviewing Finn's character, well, the actor, and basically dropped it, that he was in it.
See, I saw that they leaked something, but I never looked at it to see what it was they leaked, so I was like, okay, I stayed away from it. But
I spent weeks just scrolling past
Very
everything on
fast.
Facebook because I didn't want to get spoiled for them.
But yeah, no, the way they introduced Yoda was great, and apparently they used the exact same mould as what they used from Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, it
Um,
looked fantastic.
yeah, I'm glad they never CGI'd that. I was
No,
so glad of them.
well, a lot of the stuff was, they'd said they were going to go back to the practical effects and all that instead of relying too heavily on the CGI. And we saw that in the other movies as well before that.
Yeah, until they did Mary Poppins.
This is the other one we come up to.
Can I just say that's the one part that I actually loathe. That's in that 10%.
Yeah.
Probably takes up about 8% of them.
I didn't like the way it looked when they filmed it. The look of it was too sort of messianic, a bit sort of like sideways, sitting in space like this.
How dare you? She was a damn saint.
Carrie Fisher was a damn saint.
I'm not sure anyone's ever going to believe that.
No.
She wouldn't even believe it. No, I thought, yeah, how they did that, I just thought it was awful.
I disagree. That to me, I mean, obviously we're going into it knowing that Carrie Fisher's no longer with us, and that's very sad. But that particular moment did bring tears to my eyes because you don't see Princess Leia use the Force very often.
Yeah, I understand that time has passed since Return of the Jedi. Her Force powers have probably grown. She's probably learned a few things as well. We've just never seen it. For all we know, she could be more powerful than Luke. We just don't know.
Well, see, that was something that I always held as sort of headcanon. Like, she was very powerful, but she decided to use her more practical knowledge, like to become a general. But that one moment where she sort of saves herself, and that's what it was. She was saving herself again, and I thought that was beautifully done. And yeah, there is a part of that which, Carrie Fisher's no longer with us, and I kind of thought that at that point that was when they were going to kill her. And then they didn't. That was quite cathartic to me.
No, that doesn't bother me that they didn't kill her at that point. That it bothers me that how they did it. I just think it looked too CGI'd. It just looked too fake. It just.
When I was watching that scene, and with the whole run up to that, with the way Kylo was, when he took his fingers off the triggers, the shots came in, blew out that. When she actually started getting dragged towards the ship, I assumed at that point it was Kylo, and I thought that's really good. And then when it was her, I was like, that's rubbish. I really hated it after that. And
That would have been good actually if Kylo actually saved her.
But the
I
whole
think that would
point
have
was
been
she
a good
saved
because
herself.
but why? What difference does that make?
Well, she saved herself as opposed to... if Kylo ended up saving her, there's one thing to say that he never killed her, like he took his thumb off the trigger and all the rest of it. That's one thing, but to say that then he saved her, that would take his whole storyline in a completely different... Like, he didn't actively kill her.
He's clearly fighting stuff mentally.
Yeah, but he still hasn't went out his way to save anybody either.
And he now thinks his mum's dead.
Well, yeah.
So that wasn't addressed in the film.
But you could probably feel the presence, as they've
Possibly.
always been able to do.
Yeah.
Possibly. Again, that's something that's not really been...
No, it's not.
That'd be good fun.
That's- That could be one of those theories that people go into in depth, I would imagine.
So what's the other bit that you don't like? Because you said it's about
The whole
almost 8%.
casino scene.
Yeah.
To me, it was just an excuse to get Finn to fight Phasma, or to bring in Phasma. That was the whole point of it.
That was a great fight, though. I did enjoy that fight.
It was a great
actually
fight,
happened,
but I don't think she's dead.
Doubtful.
But I just felt the whole thing was pointless, and the style of it just didn't fit in with the rest of the film. The characters, the animals that we're all riding on looked like something out of Pokemon.
It felt very prequel.
It felt very prequel. It felt as if it wouldn't be out of place in a Harry Potter film. And yeah, I understand that you're seeing this different side of the universe, the people making the money, which obviously.
For me, as I say, it was one of the most important scenes in the movie for me.
Yeah, I don't know your take on that, but I just felt the style of it just didn't fit in, and the reason why they were there, get a code breaker, all that sort of stuff, okay, but the real reason why they were there, if you had the cynic in you, they got there just purely to get Finn off the ship to fight Phasma. That's all it was for. It was a plot device.
That you see differently though.
Well, yeah, I mean, as I say, I saw the filmmakers shoehorning a political point in, like focusing on the real world issue of people make money by selling arms to both sides, and I took my hat off to Disney for letting it pass in that. And some folk have said to me that these sort of things are well known, that people know these things, so it's not a big point to point out, but just getting that across there.
No, I understand the message. I like that part of it. But
I get the animals. There's always been cutesy things in Star Wars.
there has. I know there has. No, you get Ewoks and everything else. No, I understand that, but this is just the style of it. As you say, it looked too much like the prequels, in my opinion.
See, to me, I can get to see both your points. I do think that it kind of took us away from. I mean, we're so sort of focused on this eternal battle between good and evil. It was kind of nice to sort of come away from that and go, that's just a tiny wee part, even though it's important to the whole galaxy. It really is just a small look at the entire galaxy that people are living in, and that eternal war isn't an everyday life thing for a lot of people. So instead of focusing on like this constant battle, you're just going, well, zoom out a wee bit. And some people go through their entire lives without really thinking much about the war and thinking that how they live is normal to them.
Yeah, it's everybody's own instinct, the survival, just going through their normal life. Like those wee kids, it gives them hope when they hear about it. It gives them something to strive against the bullies that are affecting them. The big guy that was bullying the kids.
Yeah.
And there's going to be hundreds of people, thousands of people in those situations all across the galaxy in that universe. And these stories are what give them hope and the ability to fight back against those bullies, which might then bring about the next level of the next generation of the rebellion.
Especially since you've seen at the end with that wee boy just kind of very casually, room now, So I thought that was a nice wee touch. That was a pretty much blink and you miss it thing. I think there would have been a few people that literally didn't blink and miss it, and I thought that was a nice wee sort of subtle nod to the fact that it wasn't quite over.
Well, let's change tack a little bit. We've looked at a lot of things that people didn't like about it. What did you like about it? What was the good things?
I really liked the island sequences. I quite liked the sort of Rey and Luke stuff. I think they played off really well against them.
That bit when they're talking across space to each other.
Yeah, that really worked quite well. The interactions were really solid, and it kind of flushed out Kylo's character. You know, from the first film it was all right, but that really, you know, all the little bits were that, and the going back and forth, and the comedy wasn't too much of a bother. You know, can't you put on a
Star Wars was always a bit of comedy in it. It's like, well, Han Solo was always the one that brought in the jokes and things like that and everything else. So it doesn't bother me that.
See, for me, the new tech that was in it, those big 8 walkers were phenomenal. The big Dreadnought was a really cool ship as well, but.
The silence when when she turns around the ship and plows it straight through to destroy it was amazing. And the silence, dropping all sound, was perfect.
My only thing with that was, and I suppose it's in hindsight with now we know we haven't Carrie Fisher, I wish it was her that was in that ship, because to me that would have been a perfect send-off.
Yeah, that would have made a lot of sense if they twisted that somehow.
I may have still been crying right now if that had happened, but it would have been beautiful.
But yeah, no, some of the reviews I've been reading, they were talking about one of the things they didn't like was how quickly Rey seemed to get trained. And when they actually, the people don't remember Empire Strikes Back. No, it's like, Luke Skywalker jumped over some rocks with Yoda on his back and floated some rocks. He never had much training himself, really, to be honest. So and it's like, she is meant to be, the whole point of the film they were saying is like there's a balance, and in a way I sort of see it as like Highlander, because there's not many Jedi about. The ones who do have it are even more powerful. So and there's someone who's really powerful in the dark side, and now you've got Rey who's really powerful in the light side. And that's why they're playing off. It's as if they're never going to be able to defeat each other, because they're basically equally powerful, perfectly balanced.
That was kind of shown in the fight over the lightsaber.
Yeah.
You know, equal power destroyed it, and it was
the two sides of a coin. One can't exist without the other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing. I'd read the review yesterday, and one of the points that they'd made that I hadn't really clicked on yet is that when Kylo Ren woke up and Rey'd already gone, there's a scene there that we're missing. We're missing the scene where she woke up. So she's woke up and left him. Is that at any point she could have finished what Luke was about to start? She could have killed him, but she decided not to. She left without without killing him. And I think, to me, in my head, and what the guy says in the review was, there's a very good chance where she did stand over his body and think, this is the time to finish it. He's unconscious, I can finish it right now. And she's made that choice to walk away. And that scene in my head, that's exactly what happened.
But she's so good in him. That's probably
Yeah.
the reason why. She's so good in him.
Yeah.
Um,
Was the whole reason for her to go to that ship was because she thought she could basically save him.
One of the other things I've heard a lot of people talking about is the rise of the First Order. Where did they come from? Now, from my take on that one, you've got at the end of Return of the Jedi, they say they defeated the Empire. Well, they blew up the Death Star. They took out a bit of the fleet that was there, and they killed the forces and the Emperor that was there. But around the galaxy, you've still got all those Imperial strongholds, all those fleets that are controlling all these different systems. That's the basis for another group of folk to come along.
they've all got together, regrouped.
Yeah. But
somebody would have took charge.
the other side of it that I saw someone talking about was what you've got with Kylo Ren is he's kind of like the Empire was based around fascism. Kylo Ren's sort of like a neo-Nazi. He sort of idolises. Even though they've got the hindsight to see what's going on, they're still repeating the same things that they've done before and doing it even bigger and badder. So
I wonder if there's anything that's happening today that's like that.
but it's people are saying, why is he like the sort of emo whitey guy that idolises that, he's got the mask of Vader and all that sort
Although
of
I
stuff.
quite like that they destroyed that in this movie.
Yeah, like
Like
destroyed
he's-
his own mask. as
Yeah,
well.
that's what I'm saying. He started off being this, oh, my grandfather was a little evil, yeah. And now it's not about him trying to be Vader. He's very much just forced his own path now.
Yeah.
So that makes him an unknown quantity. We genuinely don't know what he's
The
going to
way
do next.
that mask was sitting on the floor was very much reminiscent of Darth Vader's mask, the burnt, crispy wreckage of it, which kind of shows the end of that version of Kylo
Yeah.
and the birth of something
Yeah.
new. So that was kind of very present. So going on about some of the other reviews, Kevin Smith's review of Last Jedi, it was interesting things that he was saying. It was almost like the director was killing the stuff that had come before. So the first thing they did was annihilate the base. He then belittled the lightsaber by calling it a laser sword. As he points out, it was what the cheap knockoff lightsabers used to be called that you could buy. That sort of grinded on me a little bit when Luke refers to it as a laser sword, and it was just like this kind of, this is that whole thing about the lightsaber, and I can't decide how I really feel about him saying that. It just felt like it was a bit of a, Star Wars, the stuff that's gone before, the third side.
Then, for me, Luke saying that just shows how very, very low he is at that point.
Yeah.
He's been flippant about the whole thing of, do you think it's that easy for me to just go off and save the universe? I'm only one guy with a sword,
I don't know if it was so much that, it's just that he genuinely at this point does not believe that anything to do with Jedi can say anything now. He's just that disillusioned and that depressed and that down that he doesn't want to attach any importance to Jedi, so he's just...
Do you think that what you're saying then is it's like the when they're talking in like X-Men movies and things like that, the superheroes, or more the Avengers movies actually, the superheroes shouldn't have that power, they should be left to the ordinary people to deal with the problems, and like folk with the superpowers have to back off and not get involved as much, that sort of thing?
Possibly.
Is that why he wants the Jedi Order gone?
That makes some sense.
Yeah, I think he's just, like you were saying earlier, one as was saying earlier, is that that down about what he nearly did. You know.
Hiding in his depression.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's depressed, basically.
So instead of sort of attaching any great importance, like Ray's doing at that point, he's just like nope, 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 and just completely shutting it down by whatever means necessary, and that could mean like belittling this very iconic weapon.
But then when you actually see him when he was about to go and burn the tree, thinking that the books were in there, but obviously Ray had, you saw that when she was shutting the drawer. But when Yoda actually burnt the tree, you actually saw him going, oh,
Yeah.
the books? No,
Yeah.
so there was a
That's
conflict
right.
still in him as well.
Yeah,
And stuff.
yeah.
There was still that sort of small aspect of him going, Christ, what are we actually going to do here? We're actually getting rid of all this stuff and we're burning it. Do I really want to get rid of the Jedi Order?
And as Yoda points out, did you actually ever read them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Page journals, they were not.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually going to discuss not so much my favourite thing about the movie, but my favourite scene in the movie was sort of the sort of last stands when somebody just kind of stands up on the sand and then it goes red, and just that very small, just his footsteps at first, and I thought that's really, it's a beautiful visualization of these are people that are about to die, and I think that was the salt fields were an amazing, just cinematically, like watching is absolutely beautiful, but then it was also like, yes, these people are dying. This isn't blood, but it very well could
Yeah,
be.
you learn about the old guy that stands up with the binocular. He just steps out the trench and goes, "I don't care," and has a look to see what's going
And
on.
it's like, yeah, that was just the very small, and then obviously as soon as like the ship's go and everything, and you're going everywhere, and you see all that blood everywhere, and it is, and you see that in your head because it is. It's just that's what you're seeing, and it's very effective because you don't get the massive big battle. Like you see people like sort of getting blown out of ships and things like that. You don't really see blood in Star Wars generally.
It's only been seen twice, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Finn's helmet.
That would be the
that
third
helmet.
time, yeah. So you've got the
arm
cutting the
got
arm
cut
off, and when Leia gets shot
Yeah.
at the bunker.
That's right.
So it's only used for very heavy effect.
So the fact that they were able to turn salt fields into like this killing ground with very, very few people, like literally the last stands, they're only making sure that the people behind them can get away safely. That was just that was astounding to me. That was beautifully done.
It was also used as a visual cue because when Luke was walking out, he didn't leave footprints.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all these little distractions were put out there that they could hint at. The one thing I didn't like was the dice. And I think that was just put in to try and hold him there so you wouldn't actually think, wait a minute, how can he be there? Because one, you know that his X-Wing's at the bottom of the sea.
Yeah.
But he could have lifted that easily.
It's how long
It's
it's
been
been
in
there
the sea.
since he went to that island, so it wouldn't.
And he
function.
used one of the doors for the east door of his house. That was an X-wing. Wing, part of the wing.
I didn't notice that.
That's something.
Yes.
But the dice holding past when Kylo goes in and sees them was just like.
See,
Yeah.
I felt a bit daft afterwards because when I seen him appear, my first thought wasn't, oh, he looks younger. And I know that you get that flashback where he does look younger, and that's supposed to sort of almost foreshadow when he looks younger there. I just thought he'd had a bath. I was like, oh, he's shaved.
Yeah, he's
you know?
basically showing, projecting himself as probably the last way Kylo saw.
Yeah.
'Cause Kylo doesn't know what he looks like. So
Yeah, and I remember thinking, oh no, that makes more sense. He hasn't washed at all.
As I say, if he turned up dishevelled, you would have looked at him and gone, oh, what's he going to do? Look at him.
Yeah. You still needed to project that sort of I'm a powerful.
But was the lightsaber he was using, was that not the one that
It's his lightsaber. He was
the
using
Rey
his
and that
own.
just destroyed?
Yeah.
So I never even picked that up.
Yeah.
But he never uses it to defend himself or anything because it's not there. So
Yeah.
everything is, he ignites it and all that. But then it's just all about dodging. So
It was one of the things that I was going to say was, I think there's been such a big outcry, a backlash against this movie because the last two were so good, and nobody was expecting them to be so good because we had very low expectations after the prequels. Force Awakens came out and it was, here's a new Star Wars movie. It's actually Star Wars. It's not the old, the prequel pish. But, and then
Rogue
Rogue One came out, and that just blew us all away. It was phenomenal. So you're built up to such a point where it would have been almost impossible to bring out a movie that was good enough to keep up with that wouldn't sort of dash expectations a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I think what people are forgetting is that we're looking at this as the third movie in the new Star Wars, but really it's the second, it's the bridge movie.
Yeah.
It's the one that's going to get us from where we started off in this new storyline to where we're going to end up. If we want to talk about sort of my favourite trilogy, which is Lord of the Rings, most people would say that Two Towers is generally the weaker of the three, and it is because people tend to go from everything that happened in the Fellowship, and then we need to get to the end and return. So you're trying to get from A to B, and that bit in the middle isn't always the
No, you could be right, and I think because of everybody, because Empire's usually regarded as the best Star Wars film.
I was about to say that
People were maybe expecting another Empire.
Yeah.
It's definitely the dark episode. It's definitely the one that's got that sort of everything's really bleak. You're left with a handful of folk alive.
That's how you go to Casino Planet. There we go.
Yeah, but the whole thing is the entire length of the movie. It's the attrition of the rebellion. They start off with almost nothing, and at the end of the movie, the entire rebellion is on the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
It's over. They called for help, nothing came. There's nobody else there, there's just them left.
If you look at the timing of them getting from the ship to the planet, they're all dead anyway, because the shooting of those ships is so fast. If you look at how that scene plays out in reality, no one makes it to the planet. Because in that first salvo, I think it's 4 or 5 ships get taken out, and there's only 30 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And in the time that whole scene goes on, they're gone. I think that was a bit of bad filming, you know, one ship blowing up is bad.
Yeah.
2 ships is terrible, but 4 ships, you know,
I know,
well, wait a minute, you're going to cut through these in no time.
And
I noticed that in the second viewing, not the first viewing. I didn't pick up on it at all in the first viewing.
I did see in the first that they were knocking them down really quickly. I mean, I've only seen it once, so. But yeah, again, it's the whole suspension of disbelief thing, isn't it? I know that particular bit is a bit grating, but yeah,
It's one of those things, you know, if you're going to put a film together, someone's got to stand there and go, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. We've killed them all because of our timing of these shots. You know, there's other bits in that sequence that I don't like arcing shots across space seems a bit bizarre, but...
Yeah, a lot of the you can't apply real world physics to anything in Star Wars, because if you did, the whole thing would fall apart. And you've got people in little face masks, and one of the things, open to hard vacuum. I mean, they're inside the gut of that slug in the asteroid, but its mouth's open to hard vacuum. None of it, no real world physics can be applied to Star Wars, otherwise the whole thing just collapses.
No, stop. Lightsabers are real. The Force is real.
Almost.
Almost, yeah.
So
there's an absolutely amazing video that I shared up. I'll put a link to it in the thing down below, but it's a guy talking about the physics of lightsabers and if they actually worked.
I put that really great one in with the guy he's questioning Kylo's lightsaber.
Yeah. that was good.
That sounds like a completely kind of different video.
So general thoughts. Liked it?
Yep.
I liked it, it's not my favourite.
Yeah,
It's definitely better than the prequels.
Yeah, I liked it.
Well,
Not
yeah.
my favourite. I think it would take a lot to beat Rogue One for the new ones, to be honest. But
Rogue One's my favourite Star Wars film of all time, though. So.
Yeah, I'd probably say the same. I really liked it.
even more than Empire.
Yep.
Yeah, I just think that, and a lot of people say it's got a beginning, a middle, and an end in one film, and it makes it its own thing.
Yeah.
It's so standalone. And some people have issues with stuff that's going in there, but I watched that film and I just really, really like it.
Yeah.
And
It's one I could watch again and again.
Yeah.
I've got a funny feeling that when the next Star Wars movie comes out, The Last Jedi will be better regarded because they're going to know what's happening next.
Yeah. And people will have had time to calm down about it.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. What are they going to do with Leia? They says they weren't going to CGI her, but they're just going to. She's just not going to turn up.
But the only way they can do it is really right around.
In between.
Unless they have something on film already.
You could,
You just don't know.
Yeah.
There's a possibility they've filmed something that's not in that film, which they've held across now until.
Yeah.
that could be a possibility, yeah. But
Whatever that is, I don't think they'll do her a disservice.
no,
She's too highly regarded.
yeah, no, she is. I mean, even the last wee tribute, Our Princess.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Oh, well, I think generally we all liked it. Not the best one, but I think we all liked it.
But it shouldn't be as hated as it is right now.
No,
And like I say, I think it will be better regarded. When
I
the
think it's
next
better
one
over
comes
multiple viewings.
on.
That's why I had to go and see it twice. Like I say, I hated it the first time. Second time I was actually going, this is actually okay.
Yeah.
But still hated certain parts of it.
I literally walked out the cinema going,
Well, that's what you did.
Well, yeah, I walked out the cinema trying to convince myself I liked it.
You liked it, yeah. Whereas I really enjoyed it. Like
The first time.
Yeah, I can understand your point of view, especially for you. You're a massive Star Wars fan.
say it's not so.
Is that not Star Trek?
That's make it so.
But yeah, I could see, because obviously you had that reaction before I seen it, and I seen it in between you seeing it for the second time, and I walked out and I realised, like, sort of, I can kind of see why Chris is about it.
Well, that's the thing. You both had our views on and how we were feeling about it. We didn't say anything about the film, but you both know we didn't enjoy it.
Uh-huh.
So you went in there with a little bit of a step down on the expectation level than we did.
See, it wasn't just you guys. I scrolled past loads of stuff, but I did see a lot pop out about it, and I was like, I don't want to be put off, but I knew it wasn't very well received by a lot of people.
See, this is something that I will be talking about elsewhere, but I kind of realised that a lot of the butthurt was coming from men, and all the girls and women that I knew watched it loved it.
Yeah, it's because my other half just loved the porgs.
Yeah.
She couldn't get past them.
No!
The what?
The porgs.
They look tasty.
They look tasty, yeah.
See, that was one of the funniest scenes in it.
That was funny.
I love the reason they actually exist is because of all the puffins that actually got in everywhere and they couldn't get rid of them, so they had to CGI them out.
Yeah.
It's puffins.
Yeah.
There is a link about it, and it is they had to put the porgs in because there was puffins everywhere, and they couldn't keep them offset.
It's an island up north, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just off Scotland.
They weren't allowed,
Ireland, just off
They
Ireland.
weren't allowed to move them because they're protected
Yeah.
species, so they just CGI.
So they invaded everywhere.
Awesome.
Which is essentially what they did on the Millennium Falcon as well. Because they ended up everywhere on that. Chewie ended up like just adopting them instead of eating them. So.
I didn't know that. You learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not
Was
long
that
till
my first
Solo.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not. There's been a lot of things going wrong with that film. I think this.
See what the
I hope not. I touch wood. I hope not. But I think this might be the first. Well, I was going to say the first Star Wars disaster, unless you count the prequels in that. But
1, 2, and 3.
We don't count the prequels ever.
They don't exist.
the last 20 minutes of the last prequel was actually watchable.
That's
But,
a whole different video.
but anyway, yeah.
The second one, if it was about 30 minutes long and you cut the rest of it out, would be okay as well. You've got half an hour worth of Star Wars in it. We're getting off track.
Yeah.
So, I think, we're not.
Well, that's our
so-
views anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I think we liked it
Yeah.
for the most part.
Yes, for the most part.
But not our favourite Star Wars film.
You're going to buy it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to buy it. Well, we're going to buy
Well,
it.
saying that, I don't own apparently Rogue One or Thingy at the moment. Force Awakens. If I do, somebody's got them, so I'll be finding those.
Yeah.
We will be back to waffle about other movies at some point in the future.
Yeah.
Probably
So,
quite
but
soon,
I'll,
let's face it. There's quite a lot coming.
So I've got a list of so far 19 movies, and there will be more added, and that's just this year.
Yeah.
So we won't be doing videos on all of those, but you know,
Well, you say that.
most yeah.
So yeah, for keep watching GeeksZilla on our Facebook page for any more Star Wars related news and in movies in general. So I think we've got a few board games coming up and a few tabletops, so keep a lookout for all these reviews coming up.
We've got lots of content coming, so subscribe.
A subscribe button, whatever it is.
Or like. Or
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Share.
Yeah.
No.
Comment.
Yeah, leave
Nice
your
things,
comments.
please.
Don't be too nasty.
If you want us to review a film,
Let
make
us
a comment
know.
down there and we'll have a look.
Yep.
Send us a DVD and we'll review it.
Nice try.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Good
Thanks.
night.